Hey guys, this is your math helper for lesson 4, module 2, lesson 4. What we're doing here is basically just kind of giving you a mental strategy for converting things into unit form real quick, excuse me, for multi-digit multiplication. When you're looking at a number like this, 8 multiplied by 31, 8 times 31, there's two ways I can look at this. I can look at this as I can designate 31 as the unit. And if I do that, basically I'm saying I have 31 eighths, and I could look at it that as here, so 31 eighths, right? Or if I designate 8 as the unit, I could say I have 8 31s, right? And if I look at either one of those, or both of those, or each of those, there is no difference in the product that I get, right? I have the same. I have 31 eighths, or I have 8 31s, and 8 times 31 gives me an answer, and it's all the same, right? So that's due to the commutative property, and that says basically that I can put things in any order, and I can still get my same answer. So that being said, then let's look at it as 31. Let's look at it. I'm going to designate 8 as the unit, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and draw myself 2 diagrams here, okay? I'm going to have one here, and I'm going to have 31 eighths, all right? So 31 eighths. And if I go ahead and do that, rather than sit here and draw 31 different lines and eighths and fill that all in, I'm just going to do this where, like, you get the idea. I am putting in, I have eighths and ... 31 later, okay? And so if I'm looking at it 31 eighths, I also want to show you another diagram here. That would be ... and we're getting down to eighths. That would be 30 eighths. Okay. Now, why would I do that? Well, I would do that because it's easier for me to go ahead and think about multiplying 30 eighths than it is 31 eighths. This is a mental strategy for me to try to solve a problem that I see like this, just quicker and easier, rather than when we get up into bigger numbers, rather than trying to solve it using a standard algorithm. I can do this. I can use this strategy that we're learning here to make it easier. Rather than do 31, I can just do 30, and then ultimately, what I would do is I'm just going to add 8, right, to get 31 eighths. 31 eighths right here is one more than my 30 eighths. I'm going to go ahead and take that off here so I can draw this out. So what I'm saying is, I'm saying that my 31 eighths, okay, is, I'm going to need more room than that. Need more room. I'm not planning that out well. Let's do it down here. 31 eighths, okay, is equal to my 30 eighths, right? 30 eighths, my 30 groups of 8, plus one extra group of 8, right? So I have my 30 here, plus my 8, and that would make this 31, okay? So the strategy then goes in, I can put that down as an expression. Watch this expression. 31 eighths, right? Because that's what that's saying. 31 eighths is equal to 30 eighths plus 1 eighth. You see how that is? And so now I have 30 eighths and I have 1 eighth. And now what this does is this makes it easier for me to solve. Okay, so let's solve this. 30 times 8. Well, I can do 8 times 3, and that's 24. and I can take my 0 and add it on. That would be 240. And my 1 times 8, well, I know that that's just 8. And 240 plus 8 equals 248. So 8 times 31 is 248, and I figured that out by doing 30 times 8 plus 1 times 8. What if I had this? 29 times 8, or 8 times 29. Well, if I do the same thing and I designate my 8 as the unit, I have 8 29 times. How could I use what we just did to figure this one out? What can I do to make this easier? Well, we just did 30, and I found out that my answer was 240. If I'm looking at this as my tape diagram and I have my 8s all the way down to 38s, this is my 38s, okay? If I have that and I want to get 29, I would just take my 38s and I would subtract 1, right? I would subtract 1. And that would give me my answer. Let's go ahead and write this out though as an expression. If I have 29 eighths is equal to 38 minus 1/8, right? And my 38 was 240. And if I subtract 1/8 from that, I'm going to get, well, I'm going to put my 8 there, excuse me. I'm going to get 232 as my solution. All right. So from here on out, it's just kind of practicing getting that down. So let's do this with a 2x2 number and see how that works. Let's try this. 49 times 20. Now, if I'm looking at that, well, the 20 is already kind of solidly rounded. That's an easy number for me to work with, a 2. But if I look at this 49, I'm going, which one do I want to work with? 49, that's kind of tough to do. So I'm going to want to change that 49, right? I'm going to want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and designate 20 as the unit. And I'm going to say I have how many 20s? I'm going to say I have 49 20s, okay? So I'm looking at this as 49 20s, all right? And those are equal. Now, what can I do with my 49? I think there's 2 different things that I can do here. And the first one is the one that is kind of what we're doing right now, my mind's going a million times a minute right here. If I turn the 49 into 50, that makes it a little easier, right? 49 times 20 is equal to, if I do 50 groups of 20 and I take 1 away, that gives me with 49. My 50, minus 1 group of 20 gives me on 49 groups of 20. And I can draw this out. I can tape diagram it. These would be 20s. Dot, dot, dot. Yep. And so ultimately I would have, this is my 50 20s, okay? And then what I would want to do is, right, of course, I want to take 1 away. Minus 1 would give me 49. So let's write this out. Or let's solve this. Sorry, excuse me. 50 times 20. All right, put this in the way. I could have put that on the bottom. Nope, wrong thing. Undo, buddy. And that would be 50 20s. 50 20s, or 5 times 2 is 10, and I have zoop zoop. And I'm going to subtract 120, or 1 group of 20, okay? And then I can solve that. Well, let's count that backwards by 10s, right? 1,000 would be 990, and then 980. And there I go, got myself a solution. You also could use the distributive property here if that's where your mind went to do. You can do 40 times 20. And you could add in 9 times 20 to get your solution, and that would also be an acceptable way to go about doing this. Let's do one more. Let's do 100. Let's go 101 times 12. This one could be a little trickier because you have to kind of figure out which one you want. Do you want 101 groups of 12, or do you want 12 groups of 101? I don't know. I kind of want to do. I want to have 100 groups of 12, because then I could just subtract away 112. Does that make sense? So if I designate 12 as my unit, and I want to draw this out just to get this in my head here. If I have, these are going to be my groups, and these are groups of 12, okay? And ultimately I have 101 of them. Those are 101 12s. Okay, and if I just write this out here, I have that is equal to, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that into, I'm going to subtract this one. I'm going to take away this 112 minus 1. And if I subtract that 1, I'll get 100 12s, and I can do that. So, sorry, actually, that's not what I'm going to do at all. See, I'm rethinking that. 100 12s, but what I really want is 100 12s, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add on. No, give me a different color. I'm gonna go ahead and add on a 12 to give myself 101 12s. Okay, does that make sense? I hope I didn't just throw anybody off. So I have 100 12s. 100 12s. And I'm going to go ahead and add on one group of 12 to get my solution. 101 12s is 100 12s minus, or plus 1 12. And 112s, well, that's 1200 plus one group of 12 is equal to 12 12s. Okay. I hope this helps. Remember, think about this as a mental strategy, as an easy way for you to go about solving a difficult problem like this without throwing that into the standard algorithm, without going 101 times 12 equals yada yada yada. Here, do it this way. Figure it out. Turn that 101 into something easier. Turn that 101 into 100. Multiply it. Then add in an extra one. Ultimately, we're just looking at ways to decompose these things, right? Different ways to decompose. How would you do this one? Well, 98. That could almost be 100. So do 12 times 100, and then once you're done with that, subtract 2 12s. So try to figure out how to make these work. And ultimately, the whole goal here is to make it work for you, to make it easier for you. So anyways, hope this helps. Hope you guys have a great night, and I'll answer any questions if you have them. Post them in the comments. Bye.